Oh, there we go. So this is going to be a relatively, hopefully, quick project. So I'm going to take all of these parts and turn them into a one-man band production machine. So tomorrow I'm going to one of these events, just for an evening thing, not too long. And let me get my mic adjusted up here. And at the event, I want to cover it differently. So what I usually do is I go to the event with my phone here, and I use the phone and just record stuff. And then I come back and sit in the chair and show you B-roll clips. And I thought, you know, what's worked better in the past has been me reporting on the event. But it doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint to always go through the expense of bringing somebody with me. So CES, total sense to bring somebody with me. But you know, these events that happen throughout the year, it's just, there's not enough there to justify the cost. So I've been trying to figure out, like, how do I report on the event in a way that makes sense without having to have like a completely ridiculous rig. So we're going to take all of these parts and put them into a little mini rig and see what we get here. And we'll get started in a minute as soon as I get myself settled in here. This place is such a mess down here. It's just crazy. We got some friends joining us. William Wilkinson is here. Charles G is here. Travis Rhodes, finally, usually I'm doing these when I'm usually during work hours. So tonight we're going to do it a little differently, right? Matt Thomas Taylor is here. Is that a Sennheiser inhaler? It kind of looks like that, doesn't it? That's kind of fun. I never looked at it that way, but now I'll never unsee that. That's good. Yeah, this is the Sennheiser AVX system, which I'll talk about in a minute. And Tech Time with Eric is here. DK Savage, my buddy, is here. And yeah, my work is kind of fun because I can do streams to all of you during my work day, right? So it's always a good bit of fun there. So let me show you what I usually do with these things. So let me pull up a new window here, and I'll just show you kind of like my dispatch videos that I like to do. And then we'll get into, once we get some more friends joining us. So I haven't done one of these, geez, in a long time, because I did not make it to CES 2022 because I was dealing with the Rona. So I couldn't go because I was sick. That's a whole nother story. So the last one of these that I did was, let's take a look here. Yeah, so CES 2020 was the last time I did one of these things. And I'll show you.
A Bluetooth from a smartphone if you want to do something.
So I'll show you what I usually do with these things. This is what I'm trying to replicate without the extra person. So it usually starts off with me doing like an introduction, like, hey, you know, we're going to go into the event. This was pre-pandemic, of course. So here, I'll turn the volume here.
Things that may not be making it to other media sources out there. We always seem to find a lot of hidden gems at these shows. So this is going to be a mix of unknown stuff and known stuff, and your feedback is also very useful while we're out here. So if there's anything
and you can see the microphone I'm using. It's the same one I've got on the desk here. See, that's the desk here. See.
What we're going to be doing first here is going into CES Unveiled, which is an event where there's probably about 200 companies or so, all at different tables that we can go from one to the next and see what they're offering for the coming year. So let's head on in there and see what they got.
So now, here's what's interesting. Look at the backpack I got on, right? So the backpack usually has, oh, see, by the way, this is what I usually do. So I go to the table.
Brand new XPS 13s that are coming out on Tuesday. And what they've done here is they've made the screen larger by shrinking the bezels on it. And they made the keyboard larger too, but it's got all that.
Now, these rooms are always really noisy. So here, let's go rewind here a little bit. So these rooms are really noisy because you see all the people around, and like they're these big open air things. So the reason why I walk around with a handheld mic is so that it can isolate. So this microphone, the stock mic that it comes with is an omnidirectional pickup. It picks up from all around. this is the cardioid head, and it actually just screws off. You can just get a new one for it. So this one has the E835 cardioid, and it only picks up like right at the top. And what I have to be very careful about is I have to keep it like right here. That's usually where I put it. And then if I go like this or like this, it changes the audio level. So you got to mentally say, okay, this is where the mic is going to be in position to my face, and then you kind of go from there. But this wireless system, this is the AVX system. It is so reliable. Like I have taken this literally all over the world. So we were in Berlin, Germany at a big show with it, CES, all the video game shows. What did I go to? PAX East I did with this thing. Like it is rock solid. It's amazing how good it is. My SM58 microphone, which is a wired mic, is a little more isolating, but this one is very, very close to it. John Stamberg is here. I totally messed up your name. Hopefully I got close to that. Travis got some gigabit. Awesome. What do they do on the uploads there? Is it like 40 or 50 up, I think? Is that what they give you? And yeah, the 1 terabyte SD cards, I think, are on sale again. I think they're like $200. I will tell you, though, and I had a photographer tell me this once, that his preference was for smaller cards within reason. And the reason why he liked the smaller cards was that he didn't want to have he was a wedding photographer. He didn't want to have all his eggs in one basket, as we like to say. So the one disadvantage of using the GoPro is that I have only a single card to record on. When I go to CES with the camcorder, I don't think I have the camcorder around me right now, but the camcorder I use has 2 memory card slots on it. So I can use 2 cards, and it's kind of like a RAID 1 where you're mirroring from one to the other. So when I record, I actually record on 2 cards at the same time in case I have a card failure, right? You always want to have redundancy. You don't have that with the GoPro. So there's a little bit of risk involved. And Richard Maxey is here. So my friend, though, liked to have smaller cards because that would allow him to not put everything on one card. So he was shooting Nikon cameras at the time, which only had compact flash. This was years ago. So he always liked to have a smaller card. And for his wedding, I gave him memory cards. That was he and his wife ran a wedding photography business together. And he's got 40 up on that connection. All right, so let's start piecing this together here. So in order so this is the GoPro Hero 9. I think I bought this during Prime Day last year. I'm very impressed with this camera. I never was a big fan of GoPros before because they had very lousy stabilization. And then if you wanted waterproofing, you had to get another case. And what they've done with these since is made the whole camera waterproof. You can see my kids took it snorkeling in the Bahamas, and it still has salt all over it. I did wash it off after it came out, but there was still like salt collecting everywhere. I've never seen water that salty before. But here's the problem with the GoPro Heroes is that, at least the current generation, the 9 and the 10, is they don't have external microphone ports on them unless you opt for the $80 media mod, which is what I have here. So we're going to need to use the media mod, not for its microphone that's built in, but rather the external microphone port that they have on the media mod. So the way this works, this is the craziest part, is that the battery compartment door has to come off completely. And this is really what makes this waterproof. So when you are, it's kind of wet for some reason. So when you are out in the field with the media mod, your GoPro is no longer waterproof. But there are some advantages to that. Yeah, I'm going to put some vinegar in distilled water. I'll try that. Yeah, most of it's off. It's just like it's in the crevices, basically, is where it ended up. And William Wilkins says, I wish the sand... Yeah, they have they do have SanDisk products for the iPhone, but yeah, Apple is really difficult with this kind of stuff. I have never had a problem, though, with SanDisk cards. I've been using SanDisk cards since 1998, when I got my first digital camera. SanDisk, of course, is now owned by WD. But you can buy cheap cards, but why, right? If you're putting your important memories and work on it, shouldn't you get something that you know is going to work? So that's been my preference with that. Now, to get the media mod to work, you have to disconnect the battery door completely. And it comes off in the worst possible way because you have to basically pull it off. Yeah, I forgot how to do it now. I think you have to you just yank it off. So it literally has to get forced off, and you don't want to lose it, because if you lose the battery door, you're out of luck. And then what you do with the media mod here, I'll get the thing out of the way here, is you slide the camera in, and then there's a USB Type-C port. Let me zoom in my other camera a little bit. There is a USB Type-C port in the media mod that the camera slides into with its USB-C port. And then once it connects, it snaps in, and you close down the door here. Now, if you want to change the battery, you got to open the thing up, right? But that's a minor consolation. So now we have the media mod installed. And what you get on the media mod are 2 cold shoe adapters. And so what we're going to do for the Sennheiser system is as follows. So I've got my receiver, and then the receiver has these little batteries on it. And the batteries charge via micro USB. These are older things. But you get about 3 hours of continuous use out of these. And when you have this plugged into a camera with XLR microphone inputs on it, it will turn itself on and off automatically with the camera, which has been really helpful when I'm out in the field. And Joltud used to back up his Palm Pilot. Yeah, it's funny. It's somewhere in my desk drawer. I have some odd old, it was like mini SD. It wasn't the micro SD format. It was like the mini SD format. So it was in between micro and the full size. And that's how I used to back up my Palm Treo, which was a Palm Pilot-based device also. That was a fun product. And I found all these fun videos of my brother, and it was cool. Christoph Howard is here again. You are back. I am back too. And Charles G says, from what I've seen, creators always seem to struggle with the GoPro. Issues with the app, issues streaming from the HDMI out, and occasionally needing to pull the battery. Yeah, I've had a lot of issues with the HDMI out on this, to the point where it's not very reliable. However, I predict, based on the time that I think it will take tomorrow night, that I'm not going to need to do any battery swaps. But I am going to bring my big USB battery thing with me, because I only have one GoPro battery, and I don't use this camera all that often. In fact, the last time I used it was over Christmas in the Bahamas, right when I was getting COVID. So, yeah. All right, so we've got that attached, and this is good to go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my receiver unit here, and I'm just going to stick it in here like that. Now the record button, I guess I could still get my finger under there. I'm trying to see what's the best way to engineer this. I might go the other way, actually, and I'll show you why in a second. For 2 reasons. One is I can get at the record button. You see how spatially challenged I am? So we're going to slide that in like so. Just going to make sure this is in there pretty good. There we go. Oh, it's still going to get complicated, because what we have to do next, I'll give you the better view of the scene here. So what I have to do next is I have to get this adapter plugged in. Maybe it might make sense to go the other way now that I think about it. That'll fit. And I can still get my finger under there. So this has to adapt from XLR to the microphone port. And then down here, we have a microphone input for the media mod. So now we're kind of getting, here's our rig. And the lighting is good enough in this place that I think I should be okay with it. Tech Time is making some eggs, having eggs for breakfast for dinner. I'm gonna go to the diner in New York City tomorrow and get my omelet, I think. And Pug's Tube is here. My sister has a pug. Her pug's name is Pia. All right, so we got that all attached. And before I get the other thing going, this is a floatable handle for the GoPro. So if you drop your GoPro, it floats. It like this part floats. It floats like this. And I tested it because I know my kids. If I give them the GoPro, they're going to drop it. And you know, obviously, you don't want to put the GoPro near the water when you've got the media mod attached. You want to put this battery door back on it again. I know I'm going to lose that because everything gets lost down here, but we'll see what happens. All right, so now I haven't charged the stick mic in a while, but let's plug in the... I don't think I've used this stick mic. I'm trying to remember the last time I used this microphone. This might have been last used at CES 2020, and it still has a charge. So I will charge it tonight. But all these charge with USB, so if you have one of those USB battery things hanging around, you just do that. All right, so let's put the button here. Go into pairing mode, and then we're going to pair up this mic with it. And let's take a second to pair. There it goes. And it manages the frequencies, so you don't have to deal with any of that stuff. And I'll show you. It's got a little display that tells you the battery life and the signal strength. And I have never gone out of range on this. I could walk, I kid you not, I can walk like across the street from down here and it still works. It's amazing. And it operates, I forgot what frequency it operates on, but it's not like one of your standard unlicensed frequencies. So it roams, it doesn't get a lot of interference even out in the field. Like the only people you'll typically encounter with one of these things are other Sennheiser AVX users. So that's why this has been pretty good for that kind of thing. All right, so just to recap, because I see we got a bunch of new people on Amazon watching. So what we're doing right now, and this is live, you can ask questions on the chat and I will answer them. And Alex Blurble just followed me on Amazon. Thank you. So to recap, we have the media mod installed. We're not using its microphone. We're going to use the Sennheiser AVX system here. I've got my Sennheiser mic with the cardioid head attached. And now we're going to set up our little rig here with the handle, and then we'll see how it all comes together. And I don't understand. I mean, I guess there's probably some reasons why they have their own proprietary wacky system here, but we're going to have to attach this to the bottom thingies. I don't know what they call these things, but I've never enjoyed the process of getting my GoPro attached to a mount. It's never been an enjoyable process for me. And this thing, I always put it on backwards too, so that'll add to the conundrum here. All right, so we'll slide this in. And I could use my phone, but you know what? My phone requires a lot more stuff to work with this microphone system because I need an adapter. You know, there's like 3 adapters required to work with the iPhone. And so it gets more and more complicated. Now I could use, one thing I am going to experiment with is that DJI microphone thing that we looked at recently. What is going on with this? It's not like going in. I don't know if something happened to the plastic here, but like, this is all legit. This is not like knockoff GoPro stuff. This is real GoPro stuff. It's not sliding in here. There's like plastic flaking off. What is going on? There it goes. Okay. There might be some residual artifacts of the ocean in here. But yeah, this will be pretty efficient. And like my first preference would be to use the phone because I really like my iPhone's camera. But what I like about the GoPro, and you'll see this when we set it up, is that, and Blondale Big started following me also. What's great about the GoPro is that you get the image on the front and the back, so I can switch the camera without stopping from me to the subject. And a great YouTube channel that I watch all the time that shoots almost exclusively on GoPros is Hoovie's Garage. And he does a great job as a car show. He does everything on the GoPro, and it works really well. That was kind of the inspiration for this, because I'm like, this guy's got millions of subscribers and does all this great stuff with just GoPros. So why am I like hauling all this equipment with me? Or worse, like why am I not doing one-man banding with my GoPro? All right, we got some more chats coming in. This is on the YouTube chat. If you're on Amazon, you can leave a chat and I will respond to you there. Tech Times is the battery. Yeah, the battery life on these are not great. And I haven't really pushed mine to the limit yet, so I'll find out. But I'm not anticipating great battery life here either. Now I always get this wrong, like how this thing mounts. So I mean, like it's not intuitive to me how everything mounts on these GoPros. And this thing's like super sharp. What's going on with this? So you can lift this thing up and then you slide it in the thing like that. There we go. I think that's how it goes. Is that it? It looks like GoPro's on the front. So that must be, if it's not, it's close enough. All right, so now we have ourselves a little rig here. And the reason why, oh yes, let me answer some more questions here. Let me zoom out the camera here first of all. Get a better view of what we're attempting here. And Christoph is wondering, what GoPro is that? So this is the GoPro Hero 9. I bought this last year. And this is very similar to the 10. I think the 10's got some slightly better image quality. But what I like about the GoPro is that the image quality on it is spectacular. They've fixed all of the things that used to bug me about GoPros, in that the stabilization is awesome. Like they've improved so much of it that it's been good. Now the event, because I think there was a question. I'm going to run into New York tomorrow for a little bit. And when I'm in New York, I was going to go to one of these little mini trade show events that I go to all the time. And I wanted to cover the event, but I don't have, it doesn't make sense to like go through the expense of bringing somebody in with me to go. And the event that I go to, they're really particular about who you can bring with you. It's like a whole big deal. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go in with my GoPro here. I'm trying to see what's going to happen if I shake it too much. And use my stick mic, because the problem that I have, let's make sure this is activated here. Yeah, it's working already. Just plug and play. The problem that I have in these venues that I go to is that they are very noisy, like really, really noisy. So you can't go in with a lavalier mic. Even I have a cardioid lavalier, and I don't even think that's going to work very well, because this mic is, you really have to hold it up close. So that is what we're going to do on that front. And let's see. Speak to BJ is here. What charge port? So the Sennheiser stuff uses micro USB, but the GoPro, and I'll show you the overhead here. The GoPro has a USB-C, so you can charge it just with, so I have a battery pack I'm going to bring with me in case the battery runs low. And I anticipate it will go out pretty quickly here. Red Techie is here, back from his Alaskan cruise. I used zip ties to attach my GoPro to a DSLR tripod to get time-lapse videos. It worked great. I can't wait to see those videos. That must have been that trip is, I've always wanted to do one of those Alaskan cruises. It sounds like you had a great time. So, and one thing I like about the GoPro is that I get the full, so what I did is I changed the settings to get the full image on the front. Usually it just gives you the middle. So I can see the full image and where I am, oh, it just turned off. And where I am in relation to the shot. Here, let me zoom out a little bit more here. And we'll put it all together here. So now the microphone's attached. One thing I don't get is the audio levels on the front, but I do get them on the back. So if I look on the back here, you can see at the bottom the audio levels jumping from that. And that's coming out of my mic. I'll just double check that though. So let me go into, but I was looking at doing this with my iPhone, and it just, there's just a lot more stuff. I have to have like all these different dongles hanging off of it, and then I don't have a front screen when I move the camera. You know what I mean? Like all these little things just become more complicated. So I wanted to simplify that. All right, so let me go through here. Okay, so media, oh, okay, so media mod, powered mic, standard mic. Does it know my align in? Oh boy. So the mic's not powered. Use with self-powered mics. That's what I want. Okay, so I think we're going to select that because that mic is powered on its own. All right, let's see. Now I think if I did a mic that needed power, this thing just knows to turn, like it uses the mic, the phantom power to know whether or not to turn off. Check. That's probably not a good way to do it. Let's take a look here. I'm going to tap the mic. Yeah, I think it's picking me up. All right, so let's replicate a scene here. So I'm going to hit the record button. And I'm going to say, hey, everybody, it's Lon. I am at the event that I'm supposed to be at. And we're going to take a look at this awesome keyboard. Check it out. It's got keys on it, and it has a nub. Can you believe that? A nub in 2022? Yes, you can. It's right there. So that's kind of like how we're going to do this whole thing. And I have my Sennheiser mic attached, and we'll see if it picks me up. All right. I think it worked. And I got 3 hours of footage. You know what's crazy? I can store 3 hours of 4K 60 on this sucker. Tech Time said the card wizard used to shoot on the iPhone. I would totally do that if it didn't require so much extra stuff. I think when they move iOS over to the USB-C standard, or the iPhone's over, that'll work. And Dika wants to know, is this still fine for now? Yes, and as you know me, I'm not always the most up-to-date on my technology as far as camera systems go. So for me, this is more than adequate. I think the new one does like 4K at 120 frames per second, which will give you some really cool options. But for me, 4K 60 is more than adequate. Now here's the only problem with this, is that to get the card out, I've got to open up the door. Oh, I got to take it out completely to get the card out. That's right. But I'm going to take the card out and see how this came out. So let's pop the GoPro out of the media mod here. Oops, the media mod is, oh, jeez. That's right, because it's in, oh boy, what a nightmare. So to get the card out, I have to go unscrew it from, or I can pull the card out. No, I can't pull it out because it's stuck in the thing. Yes, I have to unscrew the whole thing. And they don't make it easy because here's the other problem, is that the screw-in thing, unless I'm putting this on incorrectly, which is probably the case, the screw-in thing here is like right underneath the media mod, so you can't easily get it out. There we go. So I got to pull this out completely. So we're not going to be pulling the card out of this thing until I'm done for the night tomorrow. But let's see how it came together. Okay, so we got that. And then we're going to go pull it out of the media mod after we do this. And now we can get the card out. And so we're going to pop the card out here. And I'm going to pop it in to my Mac here. And we'll play back the file. Secret unarchived. That will never happen. That will never happen. Okay, let's go pull up my window here. And let's see how that came out. All right, so let's pull up the file in glorious 4K. Here's a good mug for you. And we'll go full screen with this thing. I guess I could have plugged this into my vMix system too, but maybe maybe I'll do that instead.
And I'm going to say, hey everybody, it's Lon. I am at the event that I'm supposed to be at, and we're going to take a look at this awesome...
Okay, so it seems to be working. So let me grab, I did hear some microphone handling noise, but you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this file over to my vMix system so you can all see it like played back directly. Now one thing you're going to notice, and this is not going to be an issue for tomorrow, you're going to notice that it has kind of a problem with the with the LED lights, I'll deal with that. So that will be corrected. And this file is 224 megabytes for 30 seconds. It's, I have it shooting HEVC, which might run my system here through the ringer. We'll see what happens. Let me grab the file. So bear with me here. And we'll just copy this to the desktop. Anybody watch Kenobi yet? I enjoyed it. The Kenobi thing, Obi-Wan. All right, let's move it here. And how many minutes are we into the stream here? So we are, okay, we got 25 minutes before YouTube drops me at the 55-minute mark. Happens every time. It happened today. It's 3 times now, consistently. All right, so let's go and browse to the desktop, and I'll play this back for you all so you can see it. All right, here we go. And I think there's some microphone handling noise on here, too. Let's have a listen.
And I'm going to say, hey, everybody, it's Lon. I am at the event that I'm supposed to be at, and we're going to take a look at this awesome keyboard. Check it out. It's got keys on it, and it has a nub. Can you believe that? A nub in 2022? Yes, you can. It's right there. So that's kind of like how we're going to do this whole thing. And I have my Sennheiser mic attached, and we'll see if it picks me up.
So it sounds pretty good, I think. I just got to make sure. I think it sounded like the mic was picking me up. So that should work. All right, let's see. Yes, I'm in that. If it works, if it keeps working for me. Well, it's funny, when I was a kid, my family had a business. I would always come to my dad with these crazy business ideas, and he'd say, son, when we're done making money selling gloves, which is what we did, then we'll do something else. But until then, stick with what works, all right? But it looks like that did come out okay. And I think what I want to do real quick is just grab the card. Yeah, so the mic picked up fine. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, and I didn't have to do much to make it do that. So that was encouraging. And what's crazy is just how much 4K video at 60 frames per second you can store, like 3.5 hours on this little card at that resolution. It's insane. Like I can't even fathom it. And you think about like how big a VHS tape was, and you'd be lucky to get, I would get those T120 tapes. That was what? That was 2 hours? And here it is, like no moving parts, no magnets, flash memory. We're in the future. All right. And what did Jang do on his internet connection? I don't think I've monitored mine yet. But I'm the only one here right now, so if there's anything going on my internet connection, it would be cause for concern. And right now we're streaming out probably about 40 megabits per second upstream because I'm doing Amazon at the same time. Let's slide this sucker in here. Boy, this thing does not want to go inside of its bracket. I must be doing it wrong. And this is the official GoPro one. So I'm not even using like some knockoff thing here. It just doesn't fit. There it goes. It's getting better. But I just feel like this thing they do is so clumsy. And as I play with this, I'm like, what's the benefit? It's not even proprietary because every knockoff accessory you get works the same way. It's got the same screw thing on it. All right, let's turn this back on. I just want to make sure I'm doing this correctly. All right, we are back up. But that worked the way I wanted to. I was able to keep the shot frame the way I want. And this was the big thing, was getting the front camera to show the full image, because that was the only thing that I was struggling with. And yes, I have it doing HEVC. So it can do that. This one can at least. And that saves a good amount of of storage, and it enhances the image quality at the same time with less bit rate. All right, so I'm going to go back to the media mod. I just want to make sure I have this set up right. So what's Powered Mic Plus? Oops, it doesn't have to, let me scroll through. So Powered Mic, oh, it increases the sensitivity. We don't want to do that. So we have Powered Mic, self-powered mic, standard mic, increases the, so standard non-powered mics. I'm going to leave it on Powered Mic. I thought that sounded fine. And then you can just do a regular line in. And then I remember there was one other thing about, I just want to make sure the internal microphone is disabled. Because I seem to remember there was some way to mix in multiple audio sources. And they put it in a different spot, and I can't remember where the heck they put it. And that's the playback one. And this touch screen is so sensitive, like it drives me crazy, because like you hit it all the time when you don't intend to. Like just those little swipes it misinterprets constantly. And there's no touch on the front. Check. Yeah, I think it's picking me up. Check, check, check. Yeah, so this microphone, that's what I was hearing. This microphone does pick up handling noise. So you got to hold it, pretty steady before you start talking. Kevin was saying, if I picked up the Volta Grip, no, I've not seen the Volta Grip. I am very new to GoPro world. So I was initially going to try to do this on my phone, and I was like, there's so many adapters. So for the iPhone, I think I did a video on this at some point. Because for the iPhone, I need a TRS to T. What did I need for it? Oh, yeah. So I needed a Lightning to headphone jack adapter. And then I needed a TRS to TRRS adapter. So I had two adapters hanging off of this, plus so I had like about 5 feet of cable just to plug the microphone in. Whereas the media mod here just requires itself, and that's it. And then I've got my setup here. Then this grip, this is a floating grip, which I got because my kids like to play with the GoPro at the beach. So if they drop it in the water, it floats. I'm not sure, again, you don't want to drop it with the media mod attached. But when it's floating, it floats upside down, and you can pick it up pretty easily from there. Charles is wondering, is the posted mic setting referring to phantom power or just gain? I don't know. I don't know if I don't think it's going to be able to deliver phantom power over this connector. It might. See, what the Sennheiser system uses phantom power for is to detect whether or not the camera is on. So it doesn't require it because this is amplified. So if you have, when I have it plugged into my regular camcorder, when I turn it off, it shuts this off, which is good because while this microphone will go for days, the receiver here only goes for about 3 hours of continuous use. So you have to keep an eye on that. Oh, so the Volta Grip will plug into the media mod via USB-C and keep you charged. Controls in the hand. Oh, okay, I'll have to check that out. Yes, I'm just going with my basic one here. What I do like about this one, this is the floating one, but I like that idea of having a battery in the grip. What I like about this is that it's squishy, so you can. It's like a little stress ball at the same time. And yeah, I should probably use the app instead, shouldn't I? But yeah, and here's the problem. Like I have obviously experienced Android phones. I have the Pixel 6 here, but the video on the iPhone, I have not seen it better on any other platform. Maybe the Samsung phones are better or comparable, but I did not see comparable video performance on the Pixel 6. Good phone, but not comparable on the video side. And if you look, and actually the iPhone will shoot 4K 60 out of both cameras now. And we did if you go on my channel, we did a thing at my brother's place up in Vermont. It was awesome. Like I shot the whole video 4K 60 out of both cameras. It was really, really cool. Travis says squishy is better than battery life. I'd agree with that. So yeah, this is looks like it's going to work. So I got to get everything charged and packed up for my little short journey tomorrow. but I think this is going to work. It's comfortable to hold. I can frame the shots appropriately as I flip it around. So I can go from me to that pretty elegantly. And that's kind of how the Hoovie does it. He just, you'll see it in his videos. He's got his arm out, you know, so it'll be like this, like that. But I think it'll give some real color of the event, because usually what I do is I sit here and I just report what I saw with B-roll. So that's what we're going to do. My cat friend on Amazon here was wondering about stabilization. Does it work when streaming live? I'm pretty sure it does. And the one issue I found with this media mod is that it's a pain to get the HDMI working. So I tried using it for something, and I could not get it to work. It works most of the time, but yeah, it seems to get the job done here. Hey, Mark Dell is here. Yeah, we're already done. It's working. It's always good when things work on the first try. But it seems like it'll be a good little rig for tomorrow. Yeah, the iPhone rig was getting a little too complicated, so I figured, you know what? I got the GoPro. Let's give that a shot. And with the media mod, it seems to work. And Tech Time's got the iPhone Mini 13. That's a good phone. Yeah, the cameras are great. I love mine. I got my wife an iPhone 13, the regular 13. So the one thing that she misses is the telephoto lens, which it doesn't have, which is on the 13. Christoph wants to know, how do you spell the car guy's name? Hoovie, H-O-O-V-I-E. Hoovie's Garage. And he shoots the entire thing on GoPros. It's a great channel. His most recent, I'm halfway through his most recent video. He's up in, he was in Italy at some Mercedes event, driving the SL62 across Italy, or 63, the brand new one.
New SL, and it's nice to see the SL.
But here, I'll show you what he does.
The best again, and not sort of being kept around for sentimental reasons. So much.
He's got this mastered, like.
Classy, so comfortable. So what a modern.
And he's got an external mic, so he must have the media mod on his, or maybe he's recording separately. But you see what he does?
Look at that. Now, I haven't driven one of these very much. Basically, last year.
His framing is great. You know, I mean, obviously he's doing some editing, but. But what's nice is that these cameras are so flexible for this kind of thing. And once for me, they became attractive once they figured out the whole stabilization thing. That made it totally worth it for me. So yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere exciting. This is New York City. I go into these. I'm very close to New York, so it's just like hopping on the train for a little bit. So they have these events called PepCom, and what they are, the best way to describe it is like a mini CES. So you go in, and I must have examples of this. Let me find one for you. You walk in, and it's just a bunch of tables with companies set up, and you can run through one of these things in like 2 hours and get a lot of work done. And so they have a huge one at CES. I'll show you the CES one.
From a smartphone,
yeah, here's the
CES
CES one.
Complicated there, and it will sync up all the microphones so there's no delay on them. But it also has an audio back to analog phones, or just plug it.
So what you do is you walk around from like one table to the next. But now normally I have a camera person with me. So in this scenario for tomorrow, I'm going to have no hands free. So I'll have to either have usually there's PR people at all these tables. They're more than happy to hold items for you. But you can see like there's one table there, and then so you see that red sign. That's another vendor. It's like they're all like right next to each other. So at CES, this event is the one to go to. It's called PepCom. There's PepCom and Showstoppers. Those two are like those. If you cover CES, don't miss those, because you could spend all day running around Las Vegas and get maybe a third of what you can get in 2 hours at PepCom. PepCom's a great event. Let's see if I have any B-roll of the actual event itself. Let's see. Sometimes I have shots of inside the, but you can see how it is, like it's just one after the other, and you just go from one table to the next. And Jake did this last year, or this year. Looks like everyone's very interested in the ports on whatever that thing was. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm not sure how much is going to be there. This one, so PepCom, we're getting back into a normal cadence finally. PepCom tends to be once a quarter, and I think they have like 2 shows. So this is the June show. There's like one in September, and then I think one in November, and then there's the CES show, and then it resets again, right? So I tend not to miss them because they're really helpful. And it's also good because you get to network with people face to face, not only just the companies that make the stuff, but also I get to see other creators, other journalists. So it's always good. All right. All right, everybody. Well, I think I've accomplished my mission. And we are at the 45-minute mark here, so I got to get the dog inside and start getting ready for. I guess got to pack all. I got to charge all this stuff and then get the bags ready. I'm not going for like a trip, but whenever I have to go somewhere, I feel like I've got to get moving. And so, but this rig will work. It's much more elegant than the iPhone setup would be. The video quality on the iPhone will be a little better than the GoPro, but it'll be fine. All right. Yeah, so every industry's got these things, exactly, and they're great, and I'm very appreciative to be invited to them because it helps out what I do extremely well. Travis says the 4K stream works great. Yeah, isn't it awesome? Like it's just so crisp. Everything is just like you see the detail of everything, and yeah, we discovered that yes, got to charge the batteries for sure. I discovered that if I am, if we stream for 55 minutes, YouTube drops at the 55-minute mark. I will not be live streaming during the event, just because it's hard to do it, and not everybody appreciates being broadcast live. You know what I mean? So I tend not to do that. I'm pretty sure it's open to the public. If you look at PepCom's YouTube channel, they have somebody there who does stream the whole event for them. But I don't like to put people into my thing unless I have their permission. So Chris says, good luck. Thank you. I'll need it. Yeah, I hope there's stuff there. Sometimes you go and there's like maybe 2 or 3 tables there. So, things that might be interesting to my viewers. But tomorrow, I know Lenovo's going to be there. I haven't seen them in like 2.5 years. I saw some of them it's like a usual crew that I see. So I saw one of them at this other thing in New York. But so Lenovo will be there. I was looking up to see who's going to be there. Kodak, Panasonic. I'm actually interested to see what Panasonic has. So Panasonic will be there. Roku's going to be there. So we'll see what everybody's got. Roku's becoming more of a service provider. Like the hardware is kind of secondary, right? Let me pull up, see if they've updated the who's who kind of thing here. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, so I think I'll have enough to work with there. But I'm excited because it's super easy to set this thing up. And I just love the fact that I can, here's what it'll be. It'll start like, hey, it's Lon, we're going to talk to so-and-so. This is kind of like the way it's going to work. And then I could do one of these deals where I'm like, and move in and get it positioned to where it needs to be. What's been great about the more recent GoPros is how stable they are. So even if you have someone with, less than stable hands, it will stabilize quite well. So Travis says, well, this is what's funny. It's not a limit. It's not a stated limit, but so far we've done 3 of these streams now at 4K, and for whatever reason, right at 50, I'm going to stay on until 55 is reached because we're only 5 minutes away. Right at 55, it drops off, and it's done it now consistently every time. I did reach out to vMix to say, hey, have you guys seen this? And they're like, we have not heard that yet. So I think it might be something on YouTube's end. And not everybody streams to YouTube at this bit rate and resolution, so that could be what's driving it. So we'll give it 5 more minutes, and we'll see what we end up with here. But yeah, that's kind of like how the flow will work. And for those on Amazon who are just tuning in, what we're working with here is my Sennheiser AVX system. In my opinion, and you're going to pay for this quality, but the Sennheiser AVX, which I have been using for the last 7 years, 6 or 7 years, this is a flawless wireless system. It just works every time. I use it every day down here in the studio. It's what powers, I have another one on my camera in front of me. I use the lavalier setup here. So I have their lavalier transmitter, and it works great. The one downside is that it only allows one microphone per receiver. So that DJI thing that we looked at recently supports 2. But this operates, I forgot the frequency, I think it's like 700 megahertz. So it operates on the frequencies that your mobile phone or your old cordless phone did. So nobody's using those frequencies for a lot of things. So there's not a lot of interference. And it's constantly changing the channel. So it's monitoring, it's got like a backup. It does it all for you. You don't have to select what frequency, it just works. No channels to select, you just turn it on. And like I said, I've been at CES, I've been at IFA in Germany, and it just works. All right. So we're going to let this thing kind of ride out until, and if you're coming in late here, I'll play back what we just recorded a few minutes ago.
And I'm going to say, hey, everybody, it's Lon. I am at the event that I'm supposed to be at, and we're going to take a look at this awesome keyboard. Check it out. It's got keys on it, and it has a nub. Can you believe that? A nub in 2022? Yes, you can. It's right there. So that's kind of like how we're going to do this whole thing. And I have my Sennheiser mic attached, and we'll see if it picks me up.
So that's kind of how it'll work. I mean, we have an issue with, the GoPro has an issue with my LED lights in this house, so that's why you see some of that flakiness there. All right, looks like Christoph's having some trouble with a bot replying to a comment of his. All right, let's see if we can get past, we're at the 52-minute mark here. Let's see if we get dumped in 3 minutes. I'm just waiting for it to happen. And it doesn't, like, it just drops. And I think the drop comes on the YouTube side. So let's see what happens. And then the Amazon stream stays up. So it's something related to the YouTube thing. Yeah, we're at 53 now. It's right around now is when we'll see it drop. Because if I'm not mistaken, Chris Allegretto, I think you've been on my last, this is now the 4th 4K stream we've done. And my cat friend is reminding me to charge the battery, which I will definitely do. I'm going to charge everything right after I'm done with the stream. And Amazon customer, thank you for the follow. Yeah, we do these little experiments all the time. And they're lots of fun. But yeah, I like the workflow. And you know what's nice is that it's not that heavy. Because the one thing when I had the iPhone is you got to balance it properly. And then you got to load on, like I said, I had to get a mount for the phone. And then I had to use a bunch of adapters. So we have, like I said, we have to go from Lightning to TRRS, TRRS to TRS, and then into this. And then I had to have another thing hooked up because I didn't have any. My mount for the phone doesn't have any cold shoes on it. Like this one has 2 cold shoes. You got one here and then one up here. So I could put a light over here on this side if I wanted to. And so then I had to get a tripod to hot cold shoe adapter, like this whole big thing. All right, here we are. We're at 54:15. And let's see if we lose it in 40 seconds, because this is about the time where the stream's going to drop out. Now that we're watching it, it's not going to do it. And the stream only drops on YouTube, not on the Amazon side. So that's why I don't think it's a network issue. So let's see where we go. And the weather report, it was raining all day today, but right at the end of the day, it got nice out. I could do my microphone and report on that if you would like. All right, so here we go. We are at 10 seconds. So if I'm right, and we're back. Okay, well, it did it. And that's not good. But at least we see. Here's the thing: is that as frustrating as that is, the fact that it happens, like this is the best kind of bug you can have because it is reproducible with consistency. At 55 minutes, it drops. Why? We're gonna have to find out. So we're gonna troubleshoot this some more. Yeah, and what I did is I saw it, like I was watching my screen here, so I saw it right when it happened, and then I was able to recycle the stream. What's interesting, here's what's most interesting about it, is that typically vMix will try to reconnect, but it's like it just refuses on the YouTube side. So I think there must be something that happens at this length in when something needs to transition, and perhaps because I'm sending a higher bit rate, I'm on a different set of hardware. So, interesting. Well, at least it's back up now. But very bizarre. Okay, well, I got to run and get everybody settled in here for the evening. But I thank you all for tuning in, and I've got this rig all configured now, and it works pretty well. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. The challenge is going to be, though, because here's what, so I'm going to be covering things that need to be held. So what I'm going to have to do is have somebody else do the holding or shoot some extra B-roll, which is easy enough to do. But I can, zoom in and show all this stuff. And what's nice, these cameras like focus very well. And they're not like they're wide, but they're not like a super fisheye. So you'll see here, I'll play back the clip again. And I'll turn the audio off this time. But it's like I found with these cameras, you can never really get a bad shot with it. Right? So, this is the issue with the LED lights. I got to deal with that later. But you see, it never goes out of focus. You don't get any real depth of field, per se. But even when I'm doing that kind of movement, it's super stable. I'm not going to make it that quick at the thing tomorrow. But I think that'll work out quite well. Okay. Now, Chanflay says the video is a bit choppy. I don't know if it's choppy for anyone else. I'm looking at it here on my end. It looks okay. But it's crazy. It's like right at 55 minutes it does that. Which leads me to think it's got to be something YouTube related because it's predictable. I remember we had all those Comcast issues. It was just random because of conditions. But yeah, it might be the warning bell that it's time to stop streaming. So, all right. Well, thank you all for helping me out again. You are all terrific and helpful. And I'm going to go charge all this stuff up and keep it all together. But it's not bad. I mean, you saw all the parts that we had to assemble, but now it's all one thing. And it works. So if this works, I'll do more of these things. We'll see how it comes out when we get it done. But I'm happy. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for tuning in. And if I am able to produce something at this event, hopefully there's stuff to show, then I will bring it to you this weekend. All right? And we have a new video up. It's doing pretty well, actually, of the new Synology router. So you can check that out on the channel. And that's going to do it. All right, everybody. I will catch you all on the next one. Set your notifications. I'll probably pop back on Friday, depending on what I get done at this show. And if I pop back on Friday, I think what I might do, I'm going to be doing like an update video on my amateur radio stuff, connecting to what should we call it? A packet radio bulletin board system, old school. So it'll be lots of fun. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for tuning in, and stay tuned. We'll hopefully have some video coming out of this thing. So thanks for all that. Jared might be getting a PS5 soon. Awesome. Yeah, I have an Xbox Series X, and I am very happy with my Xbox, with what limited time I have to play with it. My daughters and I play games on it, which is fun. All right, everybody. I will talk to you soon. And Matt likes the, awesome. Yeah, I've been having what's fun about the radio content is that it's new for me. So it's been really fun to explore a new technology that I really know very little about. But I'm making progress. And again, the best way to get started is to get one of those RTL SDR adapters and just start listening. because everything that it comes with is enough to pick up a lot. So check out my videos, Lon.TV/SDR, for more on that. All right, I'm going to catch you all very soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.